From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk of the Night. And now, your host, Paranormal Phil. Thank you and good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the world, around the globe, or even in your own backyard. I am Paranormal Phil. I had a little technical issue. I brought up the wrong live stream. So disregard the last one. But I am live, so let me post in the chat. Let me delete that one. And bring up the one that All right, so again, tonight this time I know I got it right. So I just got to post on Facebook, let people know I'm live now because, as I said, I brought up the wrong live stream and it messed things up. So I didn't want to be talking about, whatchamacallit. I didn't want to be talking about Christmas stuff or the Bermuda Triangle on the Christmas thing. So that was a mistake of mine. So let me let's mute this. So I'm just trying to get, there it is. Copy. All right. Alright, so I just got to post about that I am live now so people know. I am live now. And the link. Alright, so copy, post. Alright, and now I just got to share it on my personal Facebook so people know. So give me a second and we'll get started. Now tonight we're going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle, not Christmas stuff. For the ones that were kind of mistakenly tuned into my channel, that was a mistake. That was my bad. I waited till like 9 minutes till to actually post about it, so that was my bad. So I am live now. Like I said, we're going to get into the Bermuda Triangle. We're going to get into the different mysteries surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. We're going to talk about Flight 19. We're going to talk about missing ships such as the USS Cyclops as well as some others. And we're going to talk about a pilot who experienced the mysterious triangle stuff and survived to tell the tale. Let me see. Let them know I'm... All right. So, all right. So, I just wanted to do that. All right, so let me get into the first article we're going to talk about. Let me bring it up. Today's been a weird day, so please forgive me. All right, so this is probably not the first one I want to bring up. No, it isn't. All right, this is the site I want to bring up. And this comes Excuse me. This comes from Business Insider. Vanished without a trace inside the myths and mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. Now, if you don't know where the Bermuda Triangle stretches to, or where it is and everything like that, I'm going to actually go back, bring this back down. And as you can see, it goes from Miami to Bermuda and to the Caribbean Sea, everything like that. San Juan, Puerto Rico is the other point, is what I was trying to think of. But yeah, it's a big, wide area. I'm sure my ship has sailed through it when I was in the Navy a time or two. But this is the site we're going to be talking about. Like I said, this is Flight 19, mysteriously disappeared. No evidence has ever been found of their flight or anything like that. So let me bring this chat over here so that way it's out of my way. All right, so the Bermuda Triangle, a stretch of Atlantic Ocean running between Puerto Rico, Bermuda, and Miami, has been credited with the deaths and disappearances of over 8,000 lives since the mid-19th century. Now, of course, we don't hear much about the Bermuda Triangle anymore. I wonder if that mystery no longer happens, or people just don't talk about it anymore. But there's got to be something. Now, I did watch a movie last night, called Bermuda Tentacles. And it was a weird movie. It was found on Tubi, or Tubi, or however you pronounce it. But the thing kind of brought up like this alien technology. Yes, alien technology has been one of the mysteries surrounding the Bermuda Triangle for many decades. And but it was like this ship inside the Bermuda Triangle was where it pretty much stored all of the, all the aircraft and ships that have been missing in there from the Triangle since people started recording such mysterious disappearances. Now, though the exact number is not known, at least 50 ships and 20 airplanes have disappeared in the Triangle, often without a trace. And the Bermuda Triangle has become the subject of endless legends, myths, and, of course, conspiracies, like I was talking about the alien conspiracy and everything like that, of the underwater UFO, or also known as a USO. And it's, like I said, that movie brought up one aspect of probably what could be causing all the disappearance. I mean, it could be just simple as a rogue wave that has been floated causing the disappearances. But a rogue wave would not cause the disappearance of aircraft unless they were flying really low and that wave was really high. So there's got to be something else to it. Yes, a rogue wave are common, I guess, in that part of the Atlantic. Yes, there were strong storms when I sailed through it in the Navy, so there can be a lot of truth to that. And there are a lot of shipwrecks, but one thing that the triangle does is mess with the electromagnetic field, causing compasses to go haywire, navigations to go crazy. So could we have gotten past that? And could that be the cause of missing aircraft? The aircraft thought they were going one way and ended up going further out to sea, run out of fuel, and crash. But like I said, there's a lot of mysteries, a lot of myths, and conspiracies surrounding the triangle. We're going to get into one of them where somebody survived that mysterious event of the triangle and lived to tell the tale. So we're going to get into that. Again, this is from Business Insider. Now, some have called it the Devil's Triangle because of all the disappearances. Others have referred to it as Limbo of the Lost or Hoodoo Sea. Excuse me, I didn't grab any water. I mean, I've heard of it, and most people have heard of it as the Devil's Triangle or the Bermuda Triangle. I haven't heard Limbo of the Lost or Hoodoo Sea, but again, maybe I've never heard anybody refer to it as that. But to most, it is the Bermuda Triangle, a stretch of water in the Atlantic Ocean known to swallow ships and vanish planes. For centuries, the Bermuda Triangle has been mystified as a heroin patch of ocean where sailors and pilots are prone to lose contact with the natural world and disappear forever. Now, I don't think I looked into it that much, and I probably should have, but I just thought of it now. But could all the experiments that we've done over the past decades, past century, could it be that we opened up some kind of portal to another universe and they're not telling us about it or anything like that? Again, it's a conspiracy, and it's a theory. But let's look at the possibilities of something like that. Now, though the U.S. government does not recognize the Bermuda Triangle as an actual geographic location or threat, which is evidence with the Navy sailing through it, I don't think we've lost any, or my battle group didn't lose any ships that I know of. But then again, we possibly could have gone around it too. But again, going on the government thing, possibly opening a portal, maybe it's something that they don't want to tell us about. Now, its legends have long painted a picture of death, mystery, and fear. Fear of sailing through it. Probably the earliest known account of the triangle is from Christopher Columbus himself, who noted compasses going haywire. But in this article, they're breaking down the history of the triangle and some of the most notorious tales that have the triangle's ever seen. Some even believe William Shakespeare's play The Tempest is based on tales of sorcery and shipwrecks in the area. So even William Shakespeare got into it. But as I was mentioning, Christopher Columbus was probably one of the first people to recognize the weird going-ons of the Bermuda Triangle. So it says, when Christopher Columbus passed through the Bermuda Triangle on his first voyage to the New World, he recorded that a bursting flame of fire struck the sea and caused a strange light to appear in the distance a few weeks later. Now, could that have been a meteorite? Could it have been a UFO, a USO? Could be. Could it be a light to another portal? Nobody really knows about what is really going on with the Bermuda Triangle. And like I said at the beginning of the show, that or at least I haven't heard any more mysteries of anything disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle. So it makes me wonder, did things move? Did the geomagnetic field disturbance move to another location? Was it a UFO or a USO and it took off out of there and it's no longer there causing the problems? Do we not see rogue waves in there no more taking down ships? Or has our technology gotten even better to where we avoid the area altogether? Or maybe is it that... No, well, I can't say we avoid the area altogether because cruise ships still sail into Miami and the Caribbean Sea and like the islands like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and stuff like that. So could it be, and again, I'll let you decide. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat. I got the chat open. I do follow. I pay attention to everybody that tunes into the show. So pop in the chat. You have to be on Facebook. Have an account on Facebook to pop in the chat. As far as I know, I think you can pop in the chat and watch it, but it might register you as a named guest. But if you want to get recognized by me, shout out, if you will, while I'm on the air, pop in the chat, say something, just say hello if you want. I promise I don't bite, but like I said, I do pay attention to the chat. Now, in 1881, legend has it that the Ellen Austin, a ship sailing from Liverpool to New York, encountered a ghostly ship in the Bermuda Triangle and things quickly went awry. Now, we're talking about the tall ships, the big pirate boat type ships. But if it was sailing from Liverpool, England to New York, how did it get so far south? Or why did it go so far south? Well, let's find out. When the Ellen Austin approached the foggy waters of the Sargasso Sea, the area of the Atlantic that overlaps with the Bermuda Triangle, the crew encountered a fully stocked abandoned ship. Basically a ghost ship, if you will. And let me see something here because people are not tuning in, so I want to make sure people know. But the Sargasso Sea is right there down by Cuba and the Caribbean Sea. So let me do this real quick as I want to make sure people know that I am live. I'm trying to do everything, and it's a lot of work to do alone. This is why I'm hoping to get this going to where I can do radio and don't have to do video, don't have to worry about sitting too much up, even hire some people to actually help me with this, but of course I can't hire nobody right now. But again, like I said, all right. So I just wanted to post, and let me share this with a couple more groups and let people know that I am live. Again, like I said, I'm doing all this by myself, so alright, and one more group, and then I'll get back into this Ellen Austin ship. Alright, so I think I got it good enough there. So hopefully, like I said, if you're watching the show, don't be afraid to pop in the chat. Let me know what you think. If you're watching this after live, then leave a comment down below. Otherwise, if you're live, pop in the chat. Let me know what you think. But again, the Austin Ellen encountered a fully stocked abandoned ship in the Sargasso Sea, in the Atlantic Ocean, where the Bermuda Triangle overlaps. Seeing this as an opportunity to seize valuable cargo, they sent some of their men to occupy the ship and sail the remaining journey side by side. But a wicked storm quickly separated the two ships, and that's another thing that people talk about when going through the Bermuda Triangle, that crazy storms pop up out of nowhere. And when they were reunited the next day, there wasn't a trace of the crew in sight. So did the ship disappear and take the crew with them? Were they somehow thought they were going to go overboard and the ship was going to sink, and they went overboard and never found again? Again, let me know what you think. The ship was once more abandoned, but left packed with valuable resources, so the captain of the Ellen Austin tried boarding it again. But when the crew members got aboard the second time, a thick and blinding fog rolled in and separated the ships. When the fog finally cleared, the ghost ship had completely vanished. So it just disappeared without a trace. This is according to stories recounted in contemporary newspapers, I guess, at the time. In 1995, the Ellen Austin was in 1881. In 1895, Joshua Slocum, the first man to sail solo around the world, vanished on a voyage from Martha's Vineyard to South America. Now, of course, he would be traveling from Martha's Vineyard to South America straight through the Bermuda Triangle. And he was in a smaller ship, a small sailboat, as you can see here. Slocum should have never been lost at sea. He was known as a fantastic sailor, and his unexpected disappearance has since been attributed to the Bermuda Triangle. Again, mentioning at the beginning of the show of rogue waves and freak storms that pass through there. Yes, I've encountered some strange storms out to sea as we were leaving the coast of Norfolk, Virginia to head to the Mediterranean Sea, but again, I don't think we ever lost any ships in the battle group. We did have one wicked hurricane that we went through, which could have been aspirated, or however you pronounce that. I cannot talk tonight. But anyways, by the Bermuda Triangle itself. Again, we probably could have gone around it and just got stuck in the hurricane. But it did some, there was a lot of walking on walls, and we actually lost the bell out the front of the ship. Well, not lost it, but it broke free and rolled around on the deck. So we had to have people go up there and tie it down. So that, again, that was in 1895. I keep wanting to say 1895 when that happened. Now, when I was mentioning about going live earlier today, I was talking about the USS Cyclops, which was a cargo ship. And this is this story right here. In 1918, the U.S. Navy's largest and fastest fuel ship, the USS Cyclops, disappeared en route from the Caribbean to Baltimore with 309 crew members and did not leave a single trace of what happened. Now, if the ship was sunk, there would probably be some trace of debris on the surface, maybe oil, other stuff, but it disappeared with all 309 crew members. Again, I want to hear your thoughts on what might be causing these mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. Again, if you're watching live, pop in the chat, say hi. Let me know what you think. If you're watching afterwards, let me know in the comments down below. Though fully equipped with distress equipment and signals, again, it was equipped with distress signals, so nobody got a distress signal. So if they were in trouble with heavy seas, you'd be sure that that signal would be going off. But the USS Cyclops gave no warning that something dangerous was happening at sea. The legendary ship was once delivered aid during World War I and carried thousands of tons of magnesia ore, had simply vanished without a trace. There is a mutiny, storms, poison, and torpedoes began to circulate because this was during World War I when this ship disappeared. Or I believe maybe afterwards, World War I, but still there's that possibility of enemy attack. But again, if it was torpedoes or storms, wouldn't there be some kind of debris? And if there was a wreck, where is the debris? Why was there no distress call? How could it have been captured when it lacked the fuel to travel very far? Because ships back then were not known to go very far. Instead, people turned their minds to mysterious beasts such as giant squids, like you would see in fantasy novels about it, or like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I watched a movie called Bermuda Tentacles, was this giant alien ship, underwater UFO with like monster-like arms like a squid, and inside this alien ship, in the belly of it, almost like the whale in Moby Dick or in Pinocchio, all the wrecks. I mean, it brought up the USS Cyclops. I don't think it mentioned Flight 19 in the movie, but it did mention the USS Cyclops, and other wreckage was shown. So could something like that be the thing? Or a giant squid? And the treacherous workings of the Bermuda Triangle, according to the Washington Post. There has been no more baffling mysteries in the annuals of the Navy than the disappearance last March of the U.S. Cyclops, Navy Secretary Joseph Daniels wrote in 1919. Now, in 1941, now it said there was no more in 1919, but in 1941, a Navy ship called the USS Protheus was carrying 58 passengers and a cargo of ore from St. Thomas to the East Coast when it suddenly vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. Now I remember now that we did sail through the Bermuda Triangle because I had gone down, my ship had gone down to St. Thomas, St. Martin in the Caribbean Sea. So I know we've traveled through the Bermuda Triangle. But it was carrying cargo from St. Thomas to the East Coast when it suddenly vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. 1 month later, its sister ship, the USS Nereus, disappeared with 61 people along the same route. Now, I wonder if there is a certain area of the triangle that is the most dangerous, where all these disappearances happen. Again, like I said, I haven't heard anything. If you've heard anything more recently of anything going on in the Bermuda Triangle, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. It would be a great help to me, but if not, like I said, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to learning new things. Now, as I mentioned also in the beginning of the show, I talked about Flight 19, which is probably one of the most famous disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. And again, if it was a rogue wave or a giant squid, how did it make planes disappear? Again, let me hear what you think in the comments down below or in the live chat if you're watching live right now. Again, I'm live, and I want to mention this for anybody watching now. I live stream every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Usually go 2 hours, and that's it. And so don't call in. I've been getting calls on my phone line for the show. When I do open up the phone lines, I don't answer it unless I have the phone lines open and I got the call-in number up there, which I don't have. Yeah, I don't have a good thing. I want to make sure. But as I said, we talked about Flight 19 at the beginning of the show a little bit. In 1945, the legend of the Bermuda Triangle began to take hold even more when 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off from the naval base in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and vanished in the Atlantic Ocean before completing their mission. They were never to be found again. Flight 19, as it was called, was scheduled to complete a 3-hour exercise which entailed heading east to conduct bombing runs over the Bermuda Triangle. And then fly over the Grand Bahama Islands and eventually pivoting southwest to return home. But along the way, the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, became paranoid when his compass failed and he believed that the planes were moving in the wrong direction. He instructed his fleet to fly northeast, thinking he was headed towards Florida, but really just traveling deeper into the Atlantic. Again, that's a possibility. Hey, Nicole, not a problem. But they lost all communication with the flight, with the squadron. So they mentioned about the compasses failing. Again, that's one big thing about the triangle where the compasses fell. As the planes reached closer towards the Bermuda Triangle, their signal began fading according to the History Channel. Eventually, all communication was cut and the planes were never seen again. Now that could be the explanation. Thanks, Nicole. That could be the explanation of why planes have gone missing in the thing that their compasses go haywire. They think they're headed in one direction and they end up going further out to sea where there is nothing out there. Big stretches of nothing but open water. So that, again, is a possibility. But like I said, now Nicole says in the chat, I think maybe they hit a time warp thing and vanished into it. And we're going to get into that later with somebody that experienced, and like I said at the beginning of the show, somebody that experienced the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle and survived to tell about it. Now, the last thing recorded in the communications by Flight 19 passengers were eerie reports on their location. And people don't know I'm live. People texting me. Sorry. People forget that I'm live. Give me a second. I want to make sure that nobody knocks on my door, so don't get interrupted. Sorry about that. I forgot to I forgot to put up my little sign that says I'm live on the air. But the last thing recorded in the communications by Flight 19, it's been a weird day. Maybe I passed through the triangle or something. By Flight 19, passengers were eerie reports on their location. Everything looked strange. Even the ocean, said one pilot. And they don't know I'm live on the air. So they said things look strange in the ocean. So could that be because of like mysterious fogs or anything like that? And then he said, it looks like we're entering white water. We're completely lost. Now, there ain't much white. Being in the Navy, there is not much white water out there in the Atlantic. So, yes, there's going to be waves, but there's not that much white water like you would see at the coast. The disappearance of Flight 19 was so baffling that the official Navy report said it was as if they had flown to Mars. No, or at least we don't know, but I doubt they flew to Mars. A little later in the early 1900s, mid-1900s, in 1948, a DC-3 commercial flight vanished over the triangle with 29 passengers and 2 crew members headed towards Hawaii, Miami, not Hawaii. That's right, it's been one of those days. But again, rogue waves can explain possible ships being sunk and disappearing without a trace. But to have like a ghost ship, like I was talking about earlier with the Austin Ellen, or flights that are up in the air, not that close to the ocean, what could be causing it? Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below, or if you're watching live right now, let me know in the live chat. 50 miles before reaching the city, the plane's captain, Robert Lindquist, radioed the Miami airport for landing instructions. But the radio was met with silence, and the plane was never seen again. Now, again, some of this is going to sound familiar, but as far as something like that in Flight 19 with the radio transmission, when we talk about the pilot who survived the whole Bermuda Triangle. No, I don't think she went through the Bermuda Triangle, Nicole. Nicole said, isn't that what happened to Amelia Earhart? No, I don't think she went through the triangle, so, but then again, maybe she did because she hasn't been found. But who knows? That same year, a British Avril Tudor plane dubbed Star Tiger vanished in the Bermuda Triangle without a trace. 25 passengers, 6 crew members were on board, and no wreckage or information was ever found. Now, if an aircraft is going to go down, it's going to leave some debris. So why has there never been any debris found? Yes, the ocean is very big. I get that. That would be a lot of areas to cover. But if you got a signal from them at a location, why not search that area? Again, let me know what you think in the comments. According to BBC News, the official report concluded that what happened in this case will never be known, and the fate of Star Tiger must remain an unsolved mystery. 1 year later, in 1949, a GRA plane dubbed the Star Ariel departed from Bermuda to Kingston, Jamaica, but the flight suddenly lost communications when it switched over to Kingston's frequencies above the Bermuda Triangle. Though the weather was clear and the flight appeared to be on track, it was never seen or heard from again. Now, yes, could a storm actually bring down a plane? Yes, it can. Especially back then, it probably would have done more damage to the planes then than they would to the planes nowadays. But again, where's the debris? And why not search the area of the last known location? In 1963, and there's a lot of mysteries, but as I stated at the beginning of the show, why haven't we heard of any other mysteries as of the past decade or more? Last couple of decades. We haven't. Nicole says, I read that there were mermaids. They can cause storms. Again, a theory out there, but nobody really knows what causes a lot of these disappearances, and I doubt we will ever know. In 1963, the SS Marine Sulphur Queen, a large tanker ship carrying 39 passengers and molten sulfur, was last seen near the southern coast of Florida. After more than 2 weeks of looking, the rescue team only found a few pieces of debris and life preservers. Now, that one sounds like more of a rogue wave because debris was found and life preservers, but no crew member, no ship. Just debris and life preservers. It's like the black hole theory or no. Again, there's all kinds of theories like time warps, wormholes, alien craft. Again, for Nicole that wasn't here earlier, and anybody that might be just tuning in, I watched a show last night, a movie last night called Bermuda Triangles on Tubi, or Tubby, or however you pronounce it. But it was called Bermuda Tentacles, and what it was a large alien craft, USO, which is a unidentified submersible object. And in the movie, the Navy sent down some special forces to retrieve a pod from Air Force One where the president's plane got struck by lightning and took out the engines while it was flying over the Bermuda Triangle. And they ejected the president out in this pod, but shortly after he ejected out, the Air Force One blew up while the Navy was sent in to rescue the president. But he was 7 meters down. Now, that's quite a bit of ways underwater. But when they took the submersible sub down to go down and find him, they entered an underwater cavern, or what they thought was an underwater cavern. They get into the main belly of this ship, alien ship, and there was all kinds of aircraft, ships inside there. Like I said, they at the beginning of the show, they mentioned the USS Cyclops. They mentioned some other famous ships that disappeared in the triangle and everything like that. So, again, there is that possibility, but nobody really knows. The phrase Bermuda Triangle was officially coined by Vincent Gaddis in 1964 pulp magazine article titled "The Deadly Bermuda Triangle." So it wasn't officially named the Bermuda Triangle until 1964, even after all those mysterious disappearances. Guests outlined several mysteries of the triangle, highlighting the theory that the stretch of ocean is a treacherous zone. So in 1967, and I got a lot to cover. 1967, the people on a 590-foot cargo ship, Sylvia El Osa, became victims of the triangle's mystery when the ship suddenly disappeared with 37 passengers on board. Though debris, including life preservers and a lifeboat, was found, the ship itself was never again detected. Now, I've heard of mystery ghost ships before, and I talked about it with the Ellen Austin ship in the late 1900s disappearing there. Now, it wasn't the Ellen Austin. It was another ship that they ran across. It was a ghost ship, nobody on the ship, but fully stocked and everything like that. So, could these ships turn up later on? Possible. Who knows? So that's this article. I'm going to leave the rest of it for you to look over. There's a lot of other things in this article. But let me read this last thing here. But Bermuda Triangle stories have been proven to be more fiction than fact. The U.S. government has never recognized the area of the ocean as an actual threatening location, and there is no evidence to suggest that disappearances occur with any more frequency in the triangle than any other large stretch of ocean. So, you can read this. The link is in the description down below. This is from Business Insider. So let's get into another one here. And this is from Britannica. What is known and not known about the Bermuda Triangle? What is known about the Bermuda Triangle? Let's see. Yeah, that's why I mentioned USOs, which are unidentified submersible objects. UFOs are unidentified flying objects. USOs are unknown submersible objects, basically underwater craft. So what is known about the Bermuda Triangle? The Bermuda Triangle is a region of the North Atlantic, roughly a boundary between the southern coast of the U.S., Bermuda, and the islands of the Great Antilles, Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Puerto Rico. The tips are Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. The exact boundaries of the Bermuda Triangle are not universally agreed upon. Now, those are what most people recognize as the points of the triangle, but could the triangle actually be a smaller patch, or could it be a wider section, or could it even be a triangle at all? The reason why it's a triangle is because in that area is where all the disappearances have happened. But again, could it be that it encompasses a wider area, or could it encompass a smaller area? That's why I would love to see a map of where all the last known locations of all these disappearances in the triangle happened. Approximate summation of the total area range between 500,000 and 1.5 million square miles. That's that many number of square kilometers. By all approximations, The region is a vaguely triangle shape. The Bermuda Triangle. Now, a lot of this, like I said, this is stuff known about the triangle. So, most people might know this, but if you don't know this, that's why I'm reading it. The Bermuda Triangle does not appear on any world maps, and the U.S. Board of Geographic Names does not recognize the Bermuda Triangle as an official region in the Atlantic Ocean. It just labels it the Atlantic Ocean. It wasn't until 1964 that the Bermuda Triangle got its name. Although reports of unexplained occurrences in the region date to the mid-19th centuries, that's the mid-1800s, but again, like I said, Columbus was one of the first to experience strange compass readings from that, and that was in the 17th century. So, yeah. But the actual reports, written history is basically saying the mid-19th century, which is the mid-1800s. The phrase Bermuda Triangle did not come into use until 1964, as I said in the last article. The phrase appears in print and in Pulp Fiction magazine article by Vincent Gaddis, who I mentioned earlier. Despite its reputation, the Bermuda Triangle does not have a high incidence of disappearances. Disappearances do not occur with greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than any other comparable region in the Atlantic Ocean, which, like I said, leads me to think, could the Bermuda Triangle actually be a wider area than what we think? Or could it be just the nasty Atlantic Ocean that tosses up storms and possibly rogue waves? Or could it be Poseidon? Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. At least 2 incidents in the region involved U.S. military craft, which are the 2 ships that I talk about, the Cyclops and another ship that I know I messed up the name badly, but yeah. Excuse me. Let's see. In March 1918, the Collier USS Cyclops, which I mentioned, moved from Baltimore, Maryland to Brazil, disappeared inside the Bermuda Triangle. No explanation was given for the disappearance, and no wreckage was found. Some 27 years later, a squadron of bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, but there was another USS ship that disappeared in the thing that's not mentioned here. Charles, and let's see, 2013, this is more recent, the World Wildlife Foundation conducted an exclusive study of maritime shipping lanes and determined that the Bermuda Triangle is not one of the world's 10 most dangerous bodies of water for shipping. There are quite a bit of other shipping areas that are worse. But as far as disappearances go, this is probably one of the most dangerous as far as disappearances. The Bermuda Triangle sustains heavy daily traffic both by sea and air, and that's seen in people, Navy ships going through it, other ships going through it, planes flying from the U.S. to maybe Puerto Rico or to Jamaica or to Bermuda. So And again, I haven't heard anything on the Bermuda Triangle as far as any other disappearances for the past couple to few decades. So could it be that all that stopped? Let me know what you think. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the most heavily traveled. Okay, let's see. The agnostic line sometimes passes through the Bermuda Triangle, including a period in the early 20th century. The agnostic line is a place on Earth's surface where true north and magnetic north align, and there is no need to account for magnetic declination on a compass. And again, you can read all this in this article. What is not known about the Bermuda Triangle, and this is probably where some of the mysteries could play a part. The exact number of ships and airplanes have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle is not known. Again, I mentioned this earlier in the first article, but 50 ships and 20 airplanes. It could be more, it could be less. That's just the estimate. The wreckage of many ships and airplanes reported missing in the region have not been recovered. Maybe we're not searching the right part of the ocean. I mean, look how long it took us to actually find the wreckage of the Titanic. Which that's a story for another day. Because some people believe that the iceberg didn't cause that thing. It was probably something else. It is not known whether disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle have been a result of human error or weather phenomenon. Again, I talked about in that movie, Bermuda Tentacles, where the president's Air Force One was struck by lightning and caused it to go down and explode. But if something like that happens, you're going to have debris floating on the water. So again, this is from Britannica. There ain't much here. So let's get into that. Actually, I want to talk about this one later. But I want to talk about this one. This is the one I was talking about. The pilot who survived the Bermuda Triangle and lived to tell about it. And you might have heard of this story from Bruce Gernon is the guy that recounted his story. And as you can see, it looks like a time warp. And listen to this and let me know what you think. Now, of course, I'm going to have to stop throughout the thing because I got to make it for fair use. By fair use, I got to leave some commentary, criticism, educational points in between. So if you see me stopping, it's because of the Fair Use Act that I have to do that. Otherwise, I would love to play it for you. But if you want to watch the full thing by yourself without any interruption from me or anybody, well, of course, you might get ads. But anyways, a link will be in the description down below where you can watch the thing straight through.
3 men might have penetrated this mystery and lived to tell its tale.
I realized that I had just experienced something that would be important for the entire world to know about someday.
The flight of Bruce Gernon in the same area as Flight 19, almost.
And this was he flew through the same area as Flight 19 did. So, I mean, could this, maybe he made it out of something that Flight 19 could not make it out of. And this is not very far off the coast of Florida. This is down by the Bimini Islands, and this pilot was headed on this last leg of the flight, headed from Bimini Island to Miami.
Exactly 25 years later, has dramatically updated the mystery.
When I realized I was directly over Miami Beach, I realized I had just experienced an amazing phenomenon.
An experienced pilot, Gernon asserts he survived an extraordinary encounter with the Triangle when he and 2 passengers were flying from the Bahamas back to Florida in December 1970.
Again, he was flying from the Bahamas to Miami, but he stopped off in Bimini, which is not very far off the coast of Florida, I think, to get fuel or something like that. But I know he mentioned, and I don't know if it was mentioned in this video, but I know it was in another video that I saw about this, that he stopped in Bimini on his way to South Florida.
We planned on flying from Andros Island in the Bahamas, direct to Bimini, and then direct to Palm Beach International. And we lifted off at exactly 3 p.m.
They start out in just a light mist, but the weather soon turns angry. 100 miles from Miami, violent thunderclouds form over the Gulf Stream, forcing Gernon to try and fly around the storm. But the thunderstorm encircles the plane. Gernon makes a run for clear skies and finds a small gap directly in front of him that looks like a tunnel.
So I went.
Now, of course, like you mentioned, that the clouds expanded to where he could not go around it. And in a light plane like that, he's not going to be able to fly above it, maybe, but I very seriously doubt it. So he had to find his way around this storm. But as you heard him say, he mentioned almost like tunnel-like opening in the storm, like the storm wanted him to go there.
Went to full power, and we accelerated down toward the opening. And at that point, an amazing thing took place. The instant the airplane penetrated into the tunnel, these strange lines formed.
As they enter the storm tunnel, the clouds begin swirling around the plane.
Also at this point, I had this strange sensation, and it felt like zero gravity. It only lasted about 10 seconds.
And now you're not going to get, as low as he was flying, you're not going to get zero gravity. That's for higher altitude planes and, of course, spacecraft. So why was he experiencing the feeling of zero gravity in this? Again, could it be a wormhole? Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
I felt like I was slipping forward through space and yet floating at the same time.
The plane becomes trapped, but his 15 years of flying experience keeps Gernon and his passengers alive.
This tunnel was about 10 miles long, and it should have taken me about 3 minutes to get through it. But it took much less. I was only in there for about 20 seconds.
The incident...
Yeah, see, he's mentioned the tunnel looked 10 miles long, but he was only in there for maybe what was like maybe 10 seconds.
begins causing concern on the ground. Miami Flight Control radioed that they could not find Gernon's plane on their radar.
Miami couldn't find me because this electronic fog was attached to us. And apparently our transponder instrument couldn't penetrate through the fog to give him a location. And then I realized that the navigational instruments were all malfunctioning. But it was very unusual.
Then Gernon finally reaches the safety of clearer skies. But something still isn't right.
Yeah, now, see, he mentioned, like, now there is a movie that I want to watch that I haven't seen in a long time. I saw it on one of the free streaming services. I can't remember which one, but it's called final shoot, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't remember, but basically what it is a U.S. aircraft carrier enters a time warp and is transported back to December of 1941, just a couple of days before Pearl Harbor was bombed. So, of course, that's all fiction. Nothing is ever... Yeah, Final Destination, the Final Destination or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But it's not Final Destination because that is a whole nother genre of movie. But if I look it up again, because I'm going to watch it, I'll let you know what it was, Nicole. But again, he entered into open area, but things still didn't seem right.
As soon as I came out of the tunnel, the blue sky instantly turned to this strange gray color. And everything was like a fuzzy, yellowish gray.
As the fog that enveloped his plane gradually dissipates, Gernon receives word over the radio. Flight control has picked him up, and somehow he is now flying directly over Miami.
It was strange to find myself over Miami Beach because of the time. The timing didn't make sense.
Gernon initially believed that the team...
Now remember, he had just taken off not that long before he entered that storm and taken off from Bimini. And that's a good distance away. It should have took like 3 hours, I think he said in this. But it took a lot less time.
The Miami control tower had made a mistake. He should still have been over the waters of the Gulf Stream. It meant he'd traveled 100 miles in 3 minutes. That's 1,980 miles per hour.
How could that be possible when I can only fly 200 miles an hour and travel that fast and that far? I'd have to be going closer to 2,000 miles an hour.
And an aircraft traveling at that speed, at that light of an aircraft, that would not happen. So he had to hit some kind of wormhole that, because basically when you got a wormhole, you got, think of it as, let's see, just going to use this paper as an example. I got notes written on it, but imagine one point here, one point here. Now, if you, and Dr. Michio Kaku has talked about this, imagine taking that paper and folding it in half. That cuts the distance between point A and point B. So, could that be what happened? Quite possible.
But history shows that Gernon was not the first flyer to report a strange magnetic fog. In 1927, another skilled pilot claimed a very strange fog had caused his equipment.
And this is not Amelia Earhart, like you think, Nicole. This is another pilot.
To fail and set his compass spinning. His name was Charles Lindbergh.
Lindbergh in 1927 was flying back from Cuba. And he flew at night, and he was going to fly all the way to St. Louis. When he got over the Florida Straits, maybe 40 miles away from where I experienced this, he ran into a strange fog. And he wrote about it in his last book. He kept it a secret of over 40 years. He never told anybody. And I think that's because he couldn't explain what it was.
And who can explain what happened? So if you want to watch that video without me commentating on it or...
If you work in a team, you've got...
Aren't they? the link is in the description down below. So we got one more video I want to watch. It's a very short one. I'm gonna keep this show to an hour and a half tonight because I'm a little exhausted. And like I said, I had a little experience at the beginning of the show where I hit the wrong live stream, and I have to go back and delete that after the show and reset it all up again because I went to do this show on my Christmas show for next week. So it's been one of those days. But this one is, and the last one, just so you can all see, and I got to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. Life Beyond Earth channel. So if you visit that channel, let them know that Talking the Night sent you, and in their comment section. And this next one is from today. Now this one I definitely have to make sure that I use it as fair use by commentating it, because they could take down my channel because of not using it for fair use. But this is titled Bermuda Triangle Mysteries, Supernatural or Science, and he's going to talk about what people think. And let's see, when was this done? This was actually a couple years ago in October of 2018 when this was posted. But he's going to talk about the mysteries of the triangle and why he thinks that nothing is going on there. And again, like I said, it's been a few decades since I've heard of any kind of disappearance. I mean, the last disappearance was probably in the 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. And then things just dropped off. But let's see what he has to say.
Vast, ominous, mythical. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, one of the greatest mysteries of our time.
Get the life jacket!
Popularized in Hollywood.
Why isn't it getting any better? It's been getting worse.
Driving that mystery, stories like the Lost Squadron, 5 U.S. Navy aircraft that vanished over the Triangle in 1945.
Now, I actually want to back this up here to this part about the seas, because, and you'll notice in these pictures, the seas.
The greatest mysteries of our time.
Get the life jacket!
The scenes in this part here where it talks about the seas, I've gone through these rough seas, so I know what's
popularized.
Did you see the waves height? Let me actually go.
Get the life jacket!
As you can see, the size of that ship compared to the wave height, my ship, the ship that I served on, went through some of those taller waves. And that was no fun. I mean, it was for some, but, well, I mean, it was okay, fun for me, but I didn't get seasick or anything like that. I guess I inherited the not get seasick ability from my dad, who served 20 years in the military, but anyways, in the Navy. So, but when you're walking on walls because of the waves and everything like that, like I said, going through a hurricane with those type of waves, yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Popularized in Hollywood.
Why isn't it getting any better? It's been getting worse.
Driving that mystery, stories like the Lost Squadron, 5 U.S. Navy aircraft that vanished over the Triangle in 1945.
We're in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes, you are presently in the Bermuda Triangle.
I head into the depths with scientist Dr. Philip Ruja, Bermuda's custodian of historic shipwrecks.
Now, he's going to talk about shipwrecks that have been found on the ocean floor. And again, like I said, a lot of the disappearances could be because of shipwrecks. And they're in the Bermuda Triangle. By looking at the colors of the water, it looks like they're more of the Caribbean Sea, where things are a little bit calmer. They also could be down by Bimini Island and stuff like that, where in that last video from about Bruce Gernon, experienced that mysterious cloud and flying through it.
We're headed out to the Western Blue Cut. If you want to call it a mystery, there seem to be spots around Bermuda where you get 2, 3, or 4 shipwrecks, one on top of the other.
Bermuda is an island settled by shipwreck survivors, littered with over 300 sunken boats. Why? Explanations abound, from aliens and sea monsters to supernatural forces, even the lost city of Atlantis. Rouge.
And of course, Bimini has been talked about, the city of Atlantis, being part of the lost city of Atlantis, and we might do a show on that at a later date. But like I said, there's, as you heard, plenty of mysteries surrounding the triangle, such as the storms, the rogue waves. But as you saw there, sunken ships and looked like a plane prop. So could that be what happened to the stuff? The debris actually sunk? I guess we'll really never know, because, I mean, a lot of these ships could be sunk by regular rogue waves or something like that.
Has a more grounded theory.
Bermuda is surrounded by a network of reef, like stunning reef. They come right to the surface. And when ships encounter those, they literally break them apart. If you go back in time to your old wooden ships and stuff like that, those ships had no chance.
Stories of those early wrecks fueled the mythology that followed.
Using the terminology of today, you would call the triangle.
Well, I mean, this is the oldest fake news story in the world. I mean, like this has been around for a long time, and, people build on it.
But again, like he mentioned there, the reefs could play a part in a lot of ships going down, especially if they're shallow reefs, and those ships, once they're underwater, they become a man-made reef. So other ships probably running into them and causing, like he mentioned, several ships on top of each other. So, but that explains possibly the ships. It probably explains a lot of the ship disappearances is because of that, or rough seas. But it still doesn't explain the aircraft.
So many theories.
Yes, we're still researching them.
Lana Alexina, exhibit designer for Bermuda's Ocean Discovery Center, has delved into over a dozen of them.
It's not a matter of how many things disappear, it's a matter of how they disappear.
Scientists agree, our oceans remain the true mystery. Dr. Simon Boxall from the University of Southampton.
And of course, we know more about space than we do about our oceans. There is a lot to be discovered about our oceans. Again, we know more about outer space, different planets, different universes and everything like that, different stars, all that stuff about space. We know more about that than we do of our own planet's ocean and underwater. Could creatures that were around in the dinosaur age still be lurking in the deep, such as the Mariana Trench? Could megalodons still be down there? Could giant squids be down there? And I mean, there are forms of squid that are called gigantic squids, but we're talking about boat-eating squid. Basically entails about monstrous squid and stuff like that be able to wrap their tentacles around a big old ship. Could there be those type of creatures? Again, we don't know that much about our oceans, but we know more about space.
Captain made a splash with one theory.
And then suddenly we get that peak happening just there.
The rogue wave occurs where several wave systems come together and they create a super wave. They're rare, they don't happen very often, but when they do happen, you get a wave that can easily swamp a ship, even at supertanker size.
I've seen those type of waves too. And yes, but again, that explains the possibility of disappearances of ships, not aircraft. Now, like hurricanes could probably cause disappearances of aircraft, but not when it's clear and sunny days.
A potential explanation in the triangle's storm-prone waters. Still, according to Lloyd's of London, there are no more losses in the Bermuda Triangle than anywhere else in the ocean. And yet,
What is it about human nature, even for the skeptics
Right.
like you and me professionally, that just maybe?
I think that we're also storytellers, right? We're the storytelling animal. You know, as an anthropologist, that's the way I look at it. We really want to be a part of a big story.
So we want to believe.
We want to believe, and it's important that we try to believe, because that is the impetus for scientific understanding.
in this case, perhaps we should embrace both fact and fiction.
Wow. I cannot believe how many...
And, of course, he was about to say it. Can't believe how many wrecks are down there. But, again, this has not brought up nothing about any aircraft disappearances. So, is there some other mysterious thing that causes aircraft to disappear? And why haven't we, with all the wrecks down there, we can search those wrecks. Why haven't we found even sunken ships like the U.S., or possibly sunken ships like the USS Cyclops, or other mysterious ships that have disappeared? What explains the ghost ships that have been seen there? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I want to keep this short, so I'm going to...
wrecks we saw.
It's the story of Bermuda. It's a shipwreck island.
For today, Kerry Sanders, NBC News.
Okay, so I'm going to leave that. There ain't much left there on that thing, so I'll let you know, and not let you, let you tell me what you think might be causing all the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle. As you can see behind me, which is, all it is a green screen, but you see the image of the outline of the triangle. And of course the Bahamas are right there in the kind of the middle of it, right close to the Florida coast. So let me know what you think down in the comments down below. What do you think caused the disappearances of such ships as the USS Cyclops, or the mysterious disappearance of Flight 19? Let me know what you think of Bruce GERNON'S story. Do you think that he experienced the time warp thing? Could there be mythical creatures like the Kraken down below the water that we don't see? Could mysterious rogue waves, which are very rare, but they do happen, could that be the cause of the ship's disappearances? could storms like hurricanes and freak thunderstorms be the cause of missing aircraft? And why haven't we found anything? Why do we not know where this stuff is gone? Why haven't we ever searched the area where they were last known seen or heard from? There's a lot of questions out there about the Bermuda Triangle. And again, I don't think we'll ever know the answers to it. But again, let me actually pull something up because I do want to talk about it before I end the show. And that is what I got coming up for next week, as well as the end of December and the first part of January. Now, there are still no shows really scheduled for January yet, except for one, and that's the second part of the annual prediction show. But let me bring up Talking Tonight, as you can see here. Next week, what we got coming up is how different cultures and religions celebrate Christmas time around the world, as far as different cultures like African tribes, people in South America or Australia, when it's summer down there, how do they experience and celebrate Christmas time? We'll talk about different religions like the pagans, the Christians, Muslims, Jewish people, how everybody celebrates this time of year. And then, of course, the following weekend, the 26th, there is no show because that following Saturday, December 26th, is my birthday. I don't plan on doing nothing that day. The night before, I plan on going to a concert because somebody said they're taking me to a concert. I'm not paying for the tickets myself. They're taking me to the concert. So, so there's nothing going on December 26th. I don't plan on doing any show that night. It ain't happening. So don't look for me that night. There is not going to be a pre-recorded show either. Just because I don't feel like making a show. And another thing is, there's another reason why I don't plan on doing a pre-recorded show. And I'm going to let you know that in a second. Also, December 30th, because I don't want to do nothing on New Year's Eve either. It'll be part one of the annual prediction show that I do every year, where I'm going to go over last year's prediction, see what came, what predictions came true, what didn't, and then get into predictions for the following year. Then on January 2nd is the second part of the show, depending on how many predictions I get in part one done. I'll probably get some more predictions made for that year. If you are a psychic, medium, anybody that wants to give your prediction on air, let me know by emailing me at talkingthenight@outlook.com. You can find the contact information on talkingthenight.com. Because in part two, I might actually have some guests on in like maybe 30-minute segments to talk about what they have predicted for 2021. So I'm still working on that. Don't hold me to that, but that's my plans for the prediction show. Again, nothing is planned for January. And because, and I want to mention this, I thought about this, and I might not do anything for January, any shows. I was planning on doing shows for January, but I might take January off because starting the 19th of January, I'm going to be taking 4 classes for college, and I don't know how much time I'm going to have with all the class. I mean, it was tough enough doing 2 classes, let alone doing 4 classes in the spring semester. So let me see how spring semester goes. So probably no shows beyond January 2nd until further notice. I might post a video here and there, but no live streams of that sort, because it's going to be a lot of work taking 4 classes. And another thing, and I'm trying to remember what I was talking about, as far as what's coming up. So yeah, next week is how different cultures and religions celebrate Christmas time. No show on the 26th, and then part 1 of the annual prediction show, which I do every year, December 30th, and then part 2 on January 2nd. So that way I have time to recover from New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So I don't plan on doing any shows during those times or on my birthday. And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention, but I cannot remember. Oh, that's what I was going to mention. Another reason why I am not doing a pre-recorded show for December 26th when it's my birthday, not only because I don't want to spend time looking for a topic and pre-recording a show, but because I also am going to actually start working on a documentary. I'm not telling anybody what the name of it is yet, because I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work of editing, figuring out the stuff that I'm going to use for this documentary. It'll probably be an hour-long documentary. I'm not too sure. It's not going to be me talking the whole time. There are going to be clips in there and stuff like that, but I'm not mentioning anything on it until it is done. So don't ask me. No, it's not paranormal related, so don't ask me there. That might be another thing later on down the road for a paranormal documentary or something like that. But this one is not. The thing I'm working on is not a paranormal documentary. So there's that. So if you got any thoughts on what might be causing the mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle, or what might be causing this, where these ships or aircrafts might be, even if you think it was sunk by rogue waves or storms knocking the planes out of the aircraft, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And of course, next week we got Christmas time, Christmas show, how different religions and cultures experience Christmas time. So until then, oh, and one thing before we go, make sure that you donate to Talk in the Night over, there's a link in the description for PayPal to help me produce more shows when I do come back after January 2nd. Again, I don't have any plans for any January shows because of college, but there is a link down below where you can donate to help me get the show back on radio and produce more shows, because I'm doing everything by myself and it is very difficult to do. If you've ever produced a show, you know how difficult that could be. So until next time, next Saturday night when we talk about different cultures and religions during Christmas time and how they celebrate them, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking Tonight. darkness has fallen. Turn on the radio, and you hear him talking. Listening to what he has to say, all about the paranormal and all of the things. When he sounds off, you can hear him say,